So far as the story goes, Yui, a young and kind-hearted girl, was locked into a series of fiasco with the strange vampire household of the Sakamaki boys, and still trying her best to know the truth behind the situation she is currently in. After meeting all the Sakamaki boys and learning she is what they call the sacrificial bride, Yui, with her strong faith and trust to her loving father, still fights her way into the hearts of each Sakamaki boy. It was raining cats and dogs that night. Yui took a look at the window and saw a woman standing by the garden. When the woman looked back at Yui, she felt a lightning sensation, and she fainted for a couple seconds and then unconsciously stood up. Yui sleepwalked until she reached an underground tunnel. While sleepwalking, Yui found herself inside the memories of the woman she saw earlier. In that dreamlike trance, Yui saw the young version of the Sakamaki boys. The first scene she saw was with the young version of Ayato, Laito, and Kanato playing together. The three were playing happily, until their mother appeared and called Ayato. Yui recognized the woman's face, similar to the woman she saw from earlier. She scolded Ayato for playing with the siblings instead of studying. Ayato tried hard to reason out that all he had been doing is studying. However, his mother will not listen to any of his reasoning. She insisted Ayato should go back to his studies because he's the heir of the Sakamaki household. She forcefully instilled and made Ayato say from his own mouth that he needs to be number one. He must be better than anyone, and if he fails, he won't be recognized as his mother's son. She also added that Ayato is worthless unless he is number one. Next, Yui was brought to where the young Reiji and Shu were. Shu was walking with a puppy he received from his friend Edgar. After happily showing the pup to his mother, she instantly asked the butler to take it away from Shu, and told him that he's the eldest amongst the others and the future head of the family, so he must learn how to conduct himself at all times. Even though it was a hurtful thing, young Shu did not have a choice, so he just ran away afterwards. Meanwhile, Reiji tried to call his mother's attention, but she did not even give the young boy a look. Yui picked a white rose and got pricked by its thorns. Then she was transported on a bridge where the young Subaru, whilst holding the knife he gave Yui previously, was looking at his mother caged in one of the tower prisons. Then afterwards, Yui once again saw Ayato's mother with their uncle Richter flirting at the pavilion. Ayato watched them as they flirted. Then suddenly, the scenery went monochrome and time stopped, except for Ayato's mom, who looked at Yui. Once again, Yui felt the same sensation and fainted. Back in the tunnel, Ayato woke Yui up. Yui didn't remember anything. Ayato saw Yui's wound. The smell of her blood tempted Ayato and Laito. Ayato bit Yui's neck and took a sip of her blood, but felt the same sharp sensation while doing so. Laito next bit Yui's legs and started taking his turn. Despite what happened, Ayato was jealous of Laito, and the both of them ended up sipping Yui's blood. After satisfying himself, Ayato left the two and went to an empty balcony as he watched the rain pour down. One quiet evening, as Laito plays the piano, Yui went to meet him and asked if he had any idea who the woman she had been seeing around the mansion was. It was then revealed by Ayato that her name is Cordelia. The triplets talked about their gory participation in their mother's death. It all started when Ayato attacked her on the main staircase of the mansion. Cordelia desperately ran away from him and asked Laito to help her. Laito assured Cordelia that he will protect her. As she told Laito that she loves him the most, Laito gave her a light grin and pushed her off the balcony. Rain started to pour down and Kanato saw his dead mother in the Garden of Roses. After seeing his mother's cold corpse, in a weirdly sadistic manner, Kanato thought of warming her up by burning her dead body. After discovering the truth, Yui ran away from the triplets, and in the Garden of White Roses bumped into Subaru. Yui was so frightened about what she heard and could no longer stay at the mansion. Subaru said that she should have listened to him and escaped. Yui asked Subaru why he gave her his knife. He didn't answer Yui and tried to leave her. However, Yui tried to chase him. As a result, Subaru angrily told Yui to never get involved with him or else he will destroy her. Yui was reminded by the memory she saw of Subaru and his mother and told him about it. Just the memory of it infuriated Subaru, so he dragged Yui close to him and sucked her blood. He then said that the knife he gave is for Yui to use on him. Yui said that she can't possibly do that, so Subaru said that if she can't do it, then she should just use it on herself. Yui was unable to sleep that night, and as she stayed awake in her bed, she was surprised that Ayato was lying beside her. While wandering around the mausoleum at the Sakamaki residence, bats flew around Yui. As she tried to get them off her, Shu told her to be quiet. Yui apologized for disturbing him. She informed him that she's hearing a woman's voice in her head and her body is feeling unsteady. Shu pinned her down and started sucking her blood. While doing so, Shu also pointed out that it is very unusual for a sacrificial bride to survive to the point of awakening. Yui asked what he meant, and Shu said that it would be better if Richter would explain everything to her. Richter explained to Yui that she came to them because she's of a suitable bridal age and were the easiest mortal to obtain. He also added that Yui's father had nothing to do with her shortcomings. Yui became relaxed after hearing it, but suddenly felt another burning sensation in her chest, and as she collapsed, Richter said something about finally meeting that person again. Strong winds blew, and as the burning sensation worsened, Yui lost her consciousness. She followed Richter to the previously locked secret room. Richter turned her father's diary and photo into ashes. As they went inside a secret door where the old purple gown was displayed, Yui touched it and suddenly blood started coming out from it. In Yui's mind, she saw Cordelia approaching her. After that moment, Cordelia had already taken over Yui's body. The Sakamaki boys sensed a familiar feeling as soon as it happened. Meanwhile, in Yui's room, Ayato tried to look for her. However, what he only saw was Yui's crucifix necklace. With Cordelia resurrected from the dead, Ayato was very wary of her in Yui's body and asked Richter what he did to the young maiden. Richter answered Ayato's question by telling him what happened before Cordelia's corpse was burned into flames by Kanato. He said that he tried to salvage her heart, per Cordelia's request, and put it in Yui's body, so the wicked lady can come back to life. He added that Yui is merely Cordelia's vessel, and that once she awakens, Yui's soul will be obliterated for eternity and only Cordelia's will be left. At the lake, Cordelia tried to provoke Ayato by asking him if he would kill her again. Ayato brought up the topic that as a kid he was never good at swimming. Then Cordelia responded that because of her, he became better. She added that she's a great swimmer herself. Ayato, knowing that Cordelia is in Yui's body, pushed her to the lake, and to her surprise, she could not swim because of Yui's incapability to do so. As a result, Cordelia switched back to Yui. As she tried to get out of the water, Ayato heard her call for help and assisted her. After rescuing the poor Yui, Ayato could not stop himself and sucked her blood. While protesting, Ayato pinned her down aggressively and said that Yui must only devote her blood and life to him. When he was about to kiss her, the other triplets showed up. Then Yui found a chance to escape from him. As the two finally understood why Yui had been acting weird and their very unusual attraction to her blood, the two were prevented from chasing Yui into the woods when Ayato showed dominance as their alpha brother. Back in her room, Yui was considering using Subaru's knife, but was interrupted when he suddenly sipped her blood. Due to her exhaustion, Yui collapsed on the floor. Subaru asked if Yui had finally become afraid of them, that's why she was holding the knife. However, Yui said that she did not want it in her hands because she would not know what could happen. Subaru left Yui and his knife in her bed. Suddenly, Richter appeared and told Yui that her blood is making the boys crazy. She nearly had awakened the blood that will make them lose control. He also added that this is Yui's destiny. As the blood moon shines through the night, once again at the balcony, Cordelia's image of reaching for Yui's hand appeared. As Yui kneeled down, she opened her eyes and turned back to Cordelia's. While Cordelia enjoys her sweet time in Yui's body, Reiji showed up and tried to provoke the wicked mistress as he condescendingly insulted her. On the other hand, Cordelia thought only of him as a plaything. Even though Reiji mentioned that because of Cordelia, the brothers Richter and Carl had a falling out, she was not bothered by it at all. Instead, she complimented Reiji and tried to tease him and make him fall for her trap. However, the young man did not fall for it, and added that he is simply not attracted to corrupt women of loose morals. Then out of anger, was slapped by Cordelia. Two of the triplets showed up. Laito stated that all this time, he thought that the next time he'll see his mother, it would be in hell. But this situation is much better. The other guys showed up one by one as well. Subaru was triggered by Richter when he talked about his failed attempt to protect his mother. In response, he threw his uncle a punch, but was easily deflected by Richter. Richter told them that no one is strong enough to rival him. However, Shu blatantly said that Richter on the contrary was no rival with the head of the family, Karl Heinz. Cordelia tried to interfere and ordered Richter to kill the boys using Subaru's knife, and promised that if he ended them all, he would be the next head of the family. However, Richter mentioned that back when Cordelia asked him to take her heart, it was settled that once he did his part of the deal, he would automatically be head of the family. He clearly said that he did not care for her at all, that she's useless to him with her less pristine condition, and he only used her for his own benefits. Richter reiterated that it was not Cordelia using him, but it's the other way around. When he was about to bite and suck her blood, Ayato suddenly showed up. The tension suddenly rose as Richter pulled a sword to fight Ayato. Meanwhile, Laito threw a sword at Ayato so he could fight Richter equally. However, the young vampire was stabbed in his left shoulder. Ayato tried to fight back, but blood went gushing out from his pierced body. As he struggled to get out of it, suddenly Yui's consciousness came back. She escaped from Richter, went down the stairs and with Subaru's knife, stabbed herself in front of everyone. Everybody was so surprised by what she just did. Their faces turned white. As Yui fell down, she was caught by Ayato. And when Richter was about to give him his final blow, Ayato right away pierced him in the heart. When Ayato ordered Yui to open her eyes, it was Cordelia who answered and said that it was a fool of Yui to stab herself like that, and because of it, the young maiden's body will definitely be hers. As the boys worried about Yui's condition, Subaru pulled the knife out of Yui's chest. Richter went back to where the purple gown was displayed, but before he touched it, Laito showed up. Yui's turning blue from the loss of blood and the boys were on the verge of losing her. Meanwhile, Laito then figured why Richter would still keep showing up at the mansion, and that is because of the dangerous power encompassed by the purple dress. He also realized Richter's plan to use the sacrificial bride for his advantage and revolt against Karl Heinz, with the power he would gain. Laito questioned him of what he wanted to achieve if he were the new head of the family. However, Richter refused to answer. After that, Laito lit him up, together with the purple dress. Back in the mansion's living room, Kanato mentioned that no one in the history of the sacrificial brides had ever survived the awakening process. However, Ayato begged to differ because this time it's different since Yui has Cordelia's heart. In Reiji's attempt to create an antidote that will remove Cordelia for eternity, he needed something of the wicked mistress to complete it. Kanato tore Teddy's head and gave Reiji a flask of Cordelia's blood and he mixed it in the antidote. Ayato drinks the remedy and kisses Yui in order to give it to her. Nothing immediately happens. Ayato then said Yui's name. She opened her eyes and in her disbelief, she stated that she's still alive. After recognizing that the brothers are in the same room as her, Yui said that she's thirsty. Each of the brothers say something to her individually. You're awake. That's good. I'm happy for you. Now I'll get to see the revulsion on your face again. That adorable look, contorted with pain, fraught with terror, aching with anxiety, looking so desperate to get away. I love it when you make that face, so please make it again for me right now. Little bitch, don't forget about me. You're the one who came running to me. How shall we enjoy ourselves today? The thought alone fills me with glee. I'll love you lots, from top to bottom. Let's fly to the moon where we'll make love amongst the stars. Are you prepared for this? Are you prepared to give up everything that makes you for vampires like us? Are you prepared to alter everything about you? I doubt it, but that suits you. You don't need to think. All you need to do is give your blood to me. Honestly, what a high-maintenance servant you are. I wish you would stop creating work for me. Unlike some people, I have no time to enjoy myself. Although rather than black tea, I'm more in the mood for a sip of your blood. That's about all that you are good for anyway. There is no way around it. I will treat you to strict training. Will you accept your destiny and give up everything to us? If you are capable of doing that, I will take you with me into an eternal dream. Whether that dream is heaven or hell is up to you. I will not stop myself. How you feel about it is irrelevant. I will do as I please, so brace yourself. Why are you shivering? All you have to do is seek me out. I'll teach you over and over until you know me intimately. Feel me from head to toe. Seek me heart and soul. You belong to me. Afterwards, Yui was shown looking over the rose garden holding a rose in her hand. Ayato came up to her and gave her the rosary back and she thanked him. The episode ended when the door of the forbidden secret room was locked and sealed. After a dreadful experience Yui experienced through the awakening process, she was never left alone when the Sakamaki boys rescued her from her near-death experience. As the secret of their uncle, Richter, was revealed, Ayato and his brothers became aware of the peculiarities that were bound to happen to their sacrificial bride. After learning the truth behind Yui's identity, the boys became much closer and concerned for her welfare. Yui, on the other hand, had her hopes come true when she discovered more about the sad and painful boys' pasts, and when she learned that her father had nothing to do with the unfortunate events she was experiencing. As the season ended, it was revealed that Yui, first of her kind, was the only sacrificial bride who successfully survived the awakening process and most likely had become a vampire herself when in the last episode of the season she said, "I am thirsty."
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.